Let me ask you something. Does your boss ever make you feel small, make you second guess your worth, or even make you dread the sound of a morning email? If so, you might be dealing with a toxic boss. And the signs may be more subtle than you think. In the first video of this series, we talked about how toxic bosses can impact your motivation, your health, your relationships, and even your identity. Today, we're digging into the next step, how to spot the signs, the obvious ones, the hidden ones, the ones that you may brush off. Stick around until the end because I guarantee you'll start to recognize patterns you didn't see before. And yes, I'll be sharing some of my experiences. I encourage you to grab you something to write down the 25 warning signs that your boss might be toxic. Number one, they make you doubt yourself. You start questioning your own accomplishments, wondering if you're actually good at your job. Toxic bosses do this on purpose and they do it to control your confidence. Number two, they gaslight you. You remember them saying one thing, they insist that it was something else. Over time, you begin to feel like you're losing your grip on reality because you start questioning, did I hear what I thought I heard? Or did I see what I thought I saw? Yeah, you heard it and she said it and she did it. Number three, they use fear as a tool. Instead of motivating with vision or support to garner commitment, they make you fear losing your job. They make you fear failing publicly. They make you fear not measuring up. Number four, they tease or mock you. Yeah, like a little kid, even under the guise of just joking. If their comments are belittling or personal, it's not funny, it's disrespectful, and they're doing it on purpose. One of my toxic bosses, a sister, looked at a picture of my children, and in front of her supervisor, another sister said, "Oh, they are so cute. They must look like their father." Now, I'm going to be a little petty here. Okay. This blue eyed sister, and they were her eyes, because you know we do have blue eyes. She looked like a toad. Like for real, for real. Now my mom gonna probably call me and say you shouldn't have said that, and I probably am not gonna cut this out of the video. Five, they play favorites. A select few get opportunities, resources, and praise. And it's not about performance. It's about loyalty and flattery. I was a member of a four-part management team. It included my boss, the lady I just told you about, myself, and two other managers. This same toxic boss allowed the two other managers and their staff to work overtime. Me and my team were excluded. In fact, I didn't even know that overtime was even an option. The way I found out about it is one of my staff members asked me, was there overtime this weekend? And I said, not that I'm aware of. And I had not missed work that week or anything. I was in all the meetings that we had or that I knew about. Anyway, she told me some of the staff for the other units had worked overtime. So, did my investigation, talked to my boss, and sure enough, the other two managers and their staff were able to work overtime. I was not told about it. I asked, why wasn't I told about the overtime? Some of my staff might have wanted to work, and she told me she didn't have to tell me if she didn't want to. And that was that on that. So, yeah, they have favorites. They take credit for your work. You do the work, they get the recognition. And worst of it is they leave you out of the conversations completely when they're sharing your work. I created a tool to help my staff. And so some of the other managers asked if I would be willing to share. So I shared the tool. Years later, one of the executive leaders gave the tool out to another office. And she just said, hey, here's a tool that can help you with your promotional readiness. She didn't say who created it. Now, some of the people in the other office had also worked for me at one point, so they remembered that I created that tool. Long story short, another member of the senior management team, Caucasian girl. And I'm saying this because I'm going to be doing a video about how sometimes your toxic boss may look like you. Okay. So that's why I'm using the descriptors. So it was a Caucasian sister who had to send an addendum to the email letting folks know, hey, this tool was created by Colette, a manager in one of our other offices. And that manager, as well as the former employee, sent me that email letting me know. So these folks will take credit when they can. Number 7, they blame others for their mistakes. They never take accountability. When things go wrong, it's always somebody else, maybe even you. You end up thrown under the bus. Number 8, they micromanage. They give you a task, but they're breathing down your neck every second, every moment, and trying to tell you, okay, to do it this way and not that way. Why are you doing this and not that? And then they don't give you room to think or grow. Number 9, they completely neglect you. Now, the opposite is just as toxic. They don't give you feedback, no support, no awareness of what you're working on or what you need. And you may say, well, Colette, how is it that she's micromanaging and then you don't want the person to talk to you? How's that fair? In your toolkit of leadership should be your ability to assess whether this person is able to perform a specific task that you have assigned them. Effective leaders will have a conversation so that you can establish some type of communication protocols. That way you have a mutual respect going on and you're having the conversation. So you're not, one, micromanaging the person, two, you're not completely ignoring them. Leaders are supposed to know how to positively impact their staff and provide the support that he or she needs when necessary. Number 10, they only show up when something goes wrong. You never hear great job, but the second there's a slip, they're right there to criticize. 11, they shut down your ideas. 12, without warning, a project you've been working on gets reassigned with no explanation. 13, they cut you off in meeting. You're interrupted, you're overruled, you're sidelined in front of others. 14, they gossip about others. If your boss is willing to talk about your colleagues or even other supervisors to you, rest assured that they're talking about you to some other folks. One thing my mother told me, and I never forgot it, a dog that brings a bone is going to take a bone. And that's just the truth. I hope you're writing these down. We're number 15. They create conflict within the team by stirring up competition, encouraging distrust, or rewarding betrayal. They destroy healthy team dynamics. And I talked about this in the first video where I talked about the impact that toxic bosses have on the well being of employees. We talked about how it destroys relationships. And a lot of them do that on purpose because they like to divide and conquer. Some of them do loyalty tests, and those loyalty tests have to do with one person telling on another. And I'm telling you, it even happens on management teams. And this behavior gets rewarded because the boss is toxic. 16, they lie. Flat out dishonesty from a boss erodes trust and leaves everyone second guessing the truth. I don't talk politics on this channel, but we see that now. That happens on the job too. Toxic bosses are unpredictable. One day they friendly, the next day they're explosive. This instability creates anxiety across the team. Important thing when you're dealing with that kind of stuff is not to judge your worth based on this person's behavior. 18, they make inappropriate comments or gestures, whether it's sarcasm, eye rolling, or biased remarks. 19, they never talk about your future. They may manage you day to day, but they show zero interest in your growth, your goals, or career path. 20, they're always right. Feedback, dissent doesn't matter. They surround themselves with yes people and dismiss opposing views. We see that now. And that to me is so dangerous because when toxic leaders surround themselves with yes men, they don't get the benefit of people who have maybe a specific type of knowledge. The yes men don't always have all the knowledge. The yes men, a lot of times, don't have any knowledge. The only thing they know how to do is say yes. So when you have a toxic boss that only listens to people who are their yes men or the yes women, they're operating a lot of times in a lot of blind spots. The person who may express dissent may be trying to warn of something that's over to the left or over to the right or something that was not considered. That's why it's so important to get diverse opinions when you're in leadership, because people have different experiences and they can see things that you don't see. 21, they lack integrity. They bend the rules for themselves but hold others accountable. 22, they do not respect boundaries. Cell phones have made people think other people are immediately accessible. I picked up a short time gig, and this particular leader would send text messages 1 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, whenever she felt like it. 23, they expect you to be just like them. If you don't match their personality, you're not a fit. Instead of embracing diversity, they demand conformity. So I remember being a part of this management team. Most of the people on the team were baby boomers. Baby boomers are people born between 1946 and 1964. I am a Gen Xer or Generation X. Generation X are people born between 1965 and 1980. So we would come up with ideas or we would be discussing ideas. And a lot of times my ideas were a little different. Some of them were out of the box. And I was labeled as the problem child. Funniest thing happened. Some of the managers ended up attending a training that talked about generations in the workplace. When they came back, I had so many of them coming to me and saying, "We understand you now. You are a Gen X." Until they attended that generation's training, most of them only considered cultural diversity and not diversity of thought. Now, I'd like to say things got a little better after that. They didn't. The thing that changed was I was relabeled from the problem child to the Gen Xer. 24, toxic bosses tend to be passive aggressive. You've seen it. They make the little snide comments or remarks. They give you the silent treatment. They always got some kind of veiled criticism going on. One of the things I'll say is, and some people might get upset with me, and that's fine, but you see a lot of passive aggressive behavior from women bosses. Men tend to be a little straight out. 25, when toxic bosses are in the mix, coworkers stay silent. They don't want to be targeted. You don't need to check all 25 boxes to confirm you're dealing with a toxic boss. What I'll say is this: every toxic situation I've been in, I've observed a pattern. Toxic managers usually have one or all of the following characteristics: they're incompetent, they're immature, and or they're insecure. In the next video, we are going to go even deeper. We'll explore how to identify an incompetent boss. Your workplace shouldn't leave you drained, doubting yourself, or dreading Monday. Let's call it out and create a better workplace together. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.